Now, my name is Professor Sebastian Longsword from the MBA School of MBA Credentials, and I'd like to thank the Adelaide Show Podcast for making their studio available this afternoon so that two grown humans can have a mature discussion about some prickly topics as a model for the rest of society. You see, by addressing each other with respect, I'm certain we will finish our debating this afternoon as warm acquaintances, as friends, perhaps even lovers. In 2021, I debuted at the Adelaide Fringe with a show called A Lunchtime MBA, in which I promised attendees could come for lunch and leave with an MBA in 60 minutes. Fast forward to 2023, and the blurb for Wankernomics, the Solutionizing the Corporate World by Charles Firth from The Chaser and James Schleffel from The Shovel, describes itself as, and I quote, a 60-minute MBA. Now, is this plagiarism? Is this the inevitability of great ideas floating to the top and congealing across the surface of life, or does it signal something else? Well, I've summoned my Fringe colleague to get to the bottom of it. Welcome to our taking over of the Adelaide Show, Charles.
Hello, Professor Sebastian
Longsword.
Longsword, yes, of course it is, yes.
Yes, it's called nominal determinism, I believe. Charles, yes. If I may, circle back. To 2021. What puzzles me the most about your decision to perhaps mimic, allegedly, my previous work is that I distinctly remember cradling you in my bosom and laying a hand on your shoulder as I slipped you a shiny, full-sized MBA business degree. Now, is that small act of tenderness, is that what played a role in crafting these high jinks with James?
Yes, absolutely. In getting an MBA from you, we became sort of essentially corporate warriors. We became sort of, like proper CEO style, and it gave us CEO style thinking, right? And what you do if you're a CEO is you act in a sort of psychopathic manner and just steal ideas from wherever they are, including your own ideas. So by giving us the MBA, you ironically unleashed the plagiarism that you are now alleging we did. It's sort of your fault in a way. And in fact, we are going to sue you for infringement of our upcoming show, sort of retroactive copyright infringement from your show from 2 years ago. So, or 3 years ago. Yeah.
I suppose I should have foreseen that because vinyl is coming back. A lot of things come back. Yes. So retrospective, retroactive, who knows? What's the difference? But I will just draw one thing to your attention. I ran the blurb of your show through plagiarismdetector.net.
Yes.
And it found, Charles, that 57% of your blurb is original, but 43% has been plagiarized.
Really?
Would you like to know the 3 sources from which the plagiarism was detected?
Yes, I would love to know.
The first is a website which is called estella.com.au.
All right. Which is, I think, our management firm, isn't it?
Well, it might be.
Yes.
The second is Bing. And the third, apparently, the New International Version of the Bible. In particular, they singled out one word, James. Do you know if he got his name from the Bible?
Yes, you're right. He did. He stole it from the Bible. I was writing the show with James last week down in Melbourne, and on the plane
Allegedly.
home, allegedly, yeah. It was mainly just copying and pasting from your show. Yeah.
Yes,
but and we'd just done a section on all those, types of jargon that you always get in your email, thanks in advance and, all that sort of annoying stuff. And I was sitting next to this woman on the plane on the way home back to Sydney, and in her notes app, like the first thing on her notes app, she was making a note of things to do, I suppose. And the first one was circle back. It was just circle back. and then about three ones down, it just said deep dive. Right. And you're just going that. And my thought was, is she actually also writing a satirical show about the use of corporate jargon? Because like half the words that we'd been mocking, were in her notes app. And then I realized, no, she's actually serious. Like this show is just, this is about humanity. We've all gone insane by sort of being part of this sort of horrible late stage capitalism.
My question to you, Charles, is this. There are two universities in South Australia in merger talks at the moment, the University of Adelaide and the University of South Australia.
Yes.
Now, given how sharp you are, if we were to consider merging talks between my school and yours, what are the mandatory, non-negotiable requirements that you believe every business school, especially yours, should have?
Well, the starting point is how good is the catering at lunchtime? What type of wine gets served in the staff cafeteria? You know, does it have a chef's hat? You know, like you sort of need that, and I think everything else is negotiable. But that for me feels like the non-negotiable. We need.
Wow, this is a marriage made in heaven, because our school sommelier, who starts at the beginning of each lecture to pair the upcoming lecture with a drink for our students.
With a drink, yes, of course.
Actually paired this for our interview today.
Oh, yes. What is it?
I didn't know he even stocked this, but he said, you're interviewing Charles Firth from that other school. He said, I'm going to pair this conversation with a Johnny Walker Red Label whiskey. And he said he'd do that because, just like your show, low priced, so very affordable, and has a tendency to sometimes be abrasive. How's that for you happy with that?
Yes, it leaves a sort of afterburn in your mouth.
Well, it does indeed.
It's a very bitter experience.
Adelaide, Adelaide, Adelaide.